Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my video. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series Nails in the Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. When this video goes up, we have 52 days left until Halloween. Now, before I get started with our next movie, I found this stabbed into my front door with a knife in it, and I'm not sure what I should really do right now. I did call Michael stupid my last video, so he might be out for revenge. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going to have to keep my head on a swivel. We are covering Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers this week. Now, when this movie starts, we kind of get a recap of the end of Halloween 4. We see Michael getting shot to hell by a bunch of police officers and he falls down a well. That's how Halloween 4 ended. But we get a little bit of retconning here in the beginning of Halloween 5 because they show some of the police drop a stick of dynamite down the well in an effort to finish a job. But it doesn't kill Michael. He was able to make his way to a river, and he washed along shore this hermit's abode, and then he enters the shack. He goes to kill the hermit, but instead all his injuries cause him to collapse on this concrete slab. We jump ahead 1 year, and Jamie, she's receiving some testing at the Haddonfield Children's Clinic. She was traumatized and is now mute after she attacked her foster mother with scissors 1 year prior. She wakes up from a nightmare, and at the same time, Michael also wakes up after lying dormant for a year. This brings us to our first kill in the movie. After Michael wakes up, he looks around for a moment, and then he puts his mask back on. Then he walks over to the hermit, who was sitting in a chair. Michael grabs him and pretty much just beats him to death. Kind of a jerk, because the hermit did take care of you. But the first kill in Michael's revenge was the hermit, who helped him, and I'm going to give the hermit 2 nails in a coffin. I'm not going to count it against him that he helped Michael. The guy was a hermit, so I would imagine he had no clue who Michael was. All he did was let Michael lay on a concrete slab for a year. He took care of him. So he was just sitting there, and he didn't hear Michael get up. But before he knew what was happening, Michael grabbed him and beat him to death. So he really didn't have much of a chance to do anything. So for first kill in the movie, I'm going to give this hermit 2 nails in the coffin. Rachel, one of our survivors from Halloween 4, she was visiting her foster sister, Jamie, at the clinic. As she arrived back home, she was walking into her house, and we see that Michael was watching her hiding in the bushes. You would think after the events of the prior year, she'd be a little bit more alert of her surroundings, because I think I would notice if somebody was in my bushes in front of my house. While she's in the shower, she gets a call from Dr. Loomis telling her to immediately get out of the house, which she does. The police arrive and then they clear the house. And this is one of those moments where it's a good example of how poorly law enforcement are written in horror movies, specifically in this movie.
All clear. Nothing above, nothing below.
Because I don't understand the noises of the noises in the background when the police officers exit the house. It's just adding a goofy atmosphere to this, slasher movie, which really doesn't fit well. After the police leave, Rachel goes back into her house and she finishes getting ready for a party. She hears her dog Max barking in the backyard, and she goes to look out the window and she sees that he's still barking. She then hears some glass break, and she goes into one of the rooms in the house and finds a picture of Jamie with glass broken on it. And as she's looking at the frame, Michael appears from behind the door and stabs her to death with a pair of scissors. I'm going to give Miss Rachel 1 nail in the coffin. She heard the dog barking, which is a sign that something could be wrong. I have 2 dogs. And when she looked at the window, she could see Max looking at the house, but towards one of the other rooms, like he saw something and was barking. She hears something, which is a sign that someone else could be in the house, especially if it's a picture breaking. And she just called the cops since she was warned that Michael was en route to harm her. Now, granted, the buffoon cops didn't find anything, but I would assume that if you heard a noise in your house when you were warned that someone is out to kill you, you would at least try and run out of the house again, or call the police again, or at least go grab a weapon. Not slowly walk into a room where you heard a noise, stare at a broken picture of Jamie on the floor, kneel down without moving, and then I don't know how many signs of danger she really needed. So, Rachel, you let me down here, and I'm going to give you 1 nail in the coffin. Our next death is Mike, who loves his convertible, and this character tries very hard to be cool and it does not work because there's lots of bad writing in this movie. They just stole some cases of beer for a party, and they just loaded it in Mike's trunk. Michael walks up behind the car and scratches it with the garden claw. Mike sees this in the rearview mirror. He gets out of the car with the crowbar and tries to confront Michael. When Mike swings the crowbar at Michael, Michael grabs him by the throat, chokes him, and then he takes the garden claw and slams it in on top of Mike's head, killing him. Too cool for school, Mike earned himself one nail in the coffin. I give him credit for confronting the guy who just, scratched and damaged his car. However, after he swung the crowbar and Michael grabbed him by the throat, he didn't do anything else with his arms. He didn't try and get Michael's hand off of him or try and block the garden claw. I understand he was terrified and he was close to 2 nails, but he had because he had an opportunity to at least do something. And even though he would have died anyway, he at least could have tried. But if you forget you have arms, you're most likely going to get 1 nail in the coffin. Later at night, during the party located at the Tower Farm, Spitz and Samantha are in a barn next to the farmhouse. They're lying on some hay bales, making friends with each other, and Michael is watching them. During their lovemaking, Michael takes a pitchfork and he impales it through Spitz's back, and it comes out of his chest. Samantha, she starts to scream. She gets up and then she sees Michael standing there holding a very large scythe. She grabs a pitchfork out of Spitz's back and tries to attack Michael, but her plan didn't work, and he grabbed the pitchfork, threw her against the wall, and then sliced through her chest, killing her with the scythe. I'm going to give Spitz 2 nails in the coffin. He was in the middle of some happy time with Samantha, and he never really knew what hit him till it was too late, and I didn't see any poor decisions that he made. He was obviously distracted, as anyone he would be, and he was killed, so a solid 2 nails in the coffin for Spitz. His girlfriend Samantha is getting 3 nails in a coffin. Maybe I'm being a little bit generous here, but right after Spitz is killed and she sees Michael standing there with the scythe, first thing she did was grab the pitchfork, pulling it out of her boyfriend's back, and she tried to fight Michael or at least defend herself. She was cornered and she had nowhere to run, and compared to the other kills in this movie, I think 3 nails in a coffin for Samantha is a pretty fair nail rating. A short while later, at the party, Tina finds the bodies of Spitz and Samantha in the barn. She's running and screaming out of the barn, and she goes to a patrol car with the cops nearby. But she finds they were both stabbed to death with the pitchfork. These kills were off-screen, so no nail rating for them. But I would assume these 2 idiots, they're the 2 morons who cleared Rachel's house. Most likely, they probably would have received 1 nail in the coffin apiece. But we didn't see any kills, so they're not going to get any nails. After Tina finds the dead cops, Michael appears in a car and starts driving at Tina. And at this time, Jamie and her friend Billy showed up at the farm also. Michael is trying to run them all over, but they run through a tree grove, which does slow Michael down a bit. Michael is trying to run over Jamie, but he crashes into a car and it explodes. Jamie and Tina think he's dead, but it's Michael Myers, so he gets out of the car and he starts slowly to walk over to Jamie. He's about to kill Jamie, who's laying on the ground, but Tina sacrifices herself to save Tina, and she gets stabbed in the chest by Michael. The part of this movie with the chase between Michael, Jamie, and Tina running after them is the best part of this disappointing movie. This is not a good movie, but this was the part of the movie that I really did enjoy. It was a well-done scene, like I said, in a disappointing movie. I didn't think I'd give this nail rating in this movie, but I have to say, I'm going to give Tina 4 nails in a coffin. She sacrificed herself to save Jamie, who was her best friend's foster sister. And at this point, Tina didn't know that Rachel was killed. After Michael stabbed Tina in the chest, she was still telling Jamie to run. That's like this one and what I'm looking for when I want to hand out 4 nails in a coffin. Tina really wasn't stupid. She found the bodies of Spitz and Samantha. She ultimately ran to go find the cops. But then she was being chased by Michael, who was driving in a car. And then when Michael was trying to run over Jamie, Tina was behind him, but she was running after the car, trying to save Jamie and Billy. And, she sacrificed herself to save her best friend's foster sister. She, even after she was stabbed, she was still yelling at her to get away. That's what I'm looking for 4 nails in a coffin, and it's just too bad it's in a disappointing film. Dr. Loomis now has a plan to capture Michael, and all the cops in town are going to go along with it. They have Jamie in the Myers house as bait for Michael. which to me makes no sense because there's like a dozen cop cars are parked outside the house. Not much of a trap. Most of the cops leave the house when they get a call from the children's clinic saying there's, something going on there. Sheriff Meeker even says, hey, he's going to move Jamie to the police station for her safety. But then he jumps in a patrol car and leaves her in the house with Loomis and Deputy Charlie. Now, there's only one cop car left outside and one deputy in the house with Dr. Loomis and Jamie. Michael arrives in a patrol car and rams Deputy Eddie's car from behind. He then breaks through the window and bashes Eddie's head into the steering wheel until he dies. The police in this movie are written so poorly, it's almost frustrating. I'm going to give Eddie one nail in the coffin. If you're on guard trying to protect a young child, why would you be by yourself in a patrol car, especially if you know a maniac killer is on the loose? I've said in my previous videos, I'm a little harder on law enforcement and security guards in horror movies since I performed similar duties while I was in the Navy. And yeah, I don't think Eddie did anything here, so I'm going to give this deputy one nail in the coffin. After killing Eddie, Michael makes his way into the house so he can go, finish the job and kill Jamie. Deputy Charlie is trying to escape the house with Jamie using a rope ladder from a second-story window. The windowsill snaps when he's trying to hook up the ladder, so he ties it to a radiator and puts Jamie on his back. Before he can get out of the window, Michael starts to break into the room. Deputy Charlie shoots Michael, but the shots really don't stop him. They only slow him down a bit. And before the deputy can get out of the window with Jamie, Michael grabs him, wraps the rope ladder around his neck, and throws him out of the window, hanging him. This was the final on-screen kill, and I'm going to give the Deputy Charlie 2 nails in the coffin. He shot at Michael 10 times using a revolver, which doesn't make any sense. Now, this only slowed Michael down, and the reason I didn't give, Deputy Charlie 3 nails is because he only hit him twice out of 10 shots, and he also had a shotgun with him because he used a shotgun to break out the window, and you should have taken more time to get your shot off, walked up to Michael, done something to make sure you hit him, instead of only hitting him twice that I could see out of 10 shots. So, really a bad shot here. Granted, he was trying to save Jamie here, and he ultimately kind of sacrificed himself, which is why I'm not giving him 1 nail in the coffin. So I'm going to give him a very solid high 2 nails in the coffin. Jamie makes it up to the attic and lays in Michael's makeshift coffin. They have a tender moment together, but when Jamie goes to touch Michael, he flips out. Eventually, Dr. Loomis, he's using Jamie as a trap, and it works. He drops a metal net on top of Michael and then shoots him with multiple tranquilizer darts. Michael is not going down, so Loomis grabs a large piece of wood and beats Michael with it until Michael is knocked out. But the exertion and stress of this resulted in Dr. Loomis having a heart attack, and he collapses on top of Michael, and then the police arrive. The movie ends with Michael in lockup, which is weird to see him in a cell still wearing his mask. I don't know. It's just a really poorly written movie. When he's in lockup, Sheriff Meeker says the National Guard is going to take him to a maximum security prison. When Jamie is sitting in a patrol car waiting to be taken back to the clinic, an explosion rocks the police station. There's a man in black there with silver-tipped boots. He kills Sheriff Meeker and 7 other police officers. And these were all off-screen, but I doubt any of them would have received more than 2 nails max. But they were all off-screen. I'm not going to be able to rate them. Jamie, she then walks into the jail. She sees all the dead police, and then she sees Michael's cell destroyed. He's gone, and the movie just ends with her sobbing. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my nails in a coffin. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. Here's a look at the average nails in a coffin for the first 5 movies in the Halloween franchise. Thanks again for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button. Leave a like and a comment down below. And hopefully I'll see you guys here next week. I have to figure out this picture in my door thing. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. I know my dog is working. I'll see you guys next week.